everybody. Good morning and welcome back to the channel. There's something that's been on my mind for quite some time, and I decided to just speak about it with you guys because I think it's important for me to tell you how I feel and tell you what's on my mind because it's football related, and I'm sure all the viewers that are watching this are watching football or watch the game. But before we do that, guys, make sure to like, make sure to subscribe so you never miss any one of my videos. Turn the bell notification on as well because that's how you're going to know. But this is something that's been on my mind for quite some time, and it's not to do with Saturday per se, even though that will be, spoken about in slight detail in this video. So you can see it behind me. We've got Marmoush and Cole Palmer in a 3-1 Manchester City victory over Chelsea, but this has nothing to do with that. What I want to speak about first and foremost is Manchester City as a whole. They will be back. And I know you must be thinking, what's this guy talking about? Does he not watch Manchester City play? Yes, and I'm sure you do as well. But it's not to do with that per se. It's to do with what they're doing now and how they are acting. They know very, very well that this season is over in terms of domestic honours. They aren't going to win the Premier League title. They may win the FA Cup. They're not going to win the League Cup. And in Europe, they might go far in the Champions League, but that's another conversation. They know this season has been a failure in terms of not being able to not win the title, because I don't think that should be an expectation every single season because that's impossible to be perfect. But to not even compete for the title for a club with the status of Manchester City and for a kind of coach they have in Pep Guardiola, it's unacceptable. Not by my standards, but by their own. I'm sure they will be kicking themselves that they weren't able to go on and win the league, especially with the Klopp leaving and Arsenal's decline. And we can see the kind of shortcomings in their squad now. Manchester City, for me, they are known to be able to build squads, and they've done it year in, year out, build team after team after team after team. And what Pep Guardiola has been able to do is implement a complete and adequate style of play that fits Manchester City as a football club. And do not get me wrong, he has been backed in the market. They've been backed with players with resources that other clubs may not have. But it also takes a coach and a manager to understand what he's got and get the best out of them and be tactically intelligent with that. And Pep Guardiola has been able to build team after team after team after team. You look at his 17-18 Premier League winning side. You look at the one that just won the league last season. Kevin De Bruyne remains. Edison remains. Kyle Walker remains. Bernardo Silva remains. Phil Foden remains. John Stones also remains. People say Pep Guardiola spends and spends and spends and spends. And that is true. He does spend and spend and spend and spend. But he has still got 6 players. Well, Walker has now gone to AC Milan, but he's still got 6 players from the time they won the league 6 years ago to the one that won it last year. That's half his team is still made of those players. The rest of his squad, David Silva, Leroy Sané, Raheem Sterling, they had to be moved on. Otamendi, they had to be moved on. They were aging, or they weren't good enough, or injury problems or something. And Guardiola has been able to replace these players with younger players that have gone on to do the same thing. Sir Alex Ferguson used to do the same thing. Pep Guardiola has won 6 Premier League titles, only bettered by Sir Alex Ferguson. And Pep Guardiola has been able to do that in 9 years at City. 9 years, 6 Premier League titles. The only 3 seasons he has not won the league: 16-17 under Conte, Chelsea; 19-20 under Klopp; and this season, Liverpool under Arne Slot, pending, but looks likely. 3 years out of 9, almost a decade, he's not won the title. It's insanity what he is doing in this league, Pep Guardiola. And I don't think he gets the credit he deserves because he's built teams at Barcelona. He's built teams at Bayern. And yes, with resources. But like I said before, it takes a tinker man to gel that squad together, to put the pieces of the jigsaw together and lay the foundations for whoever's going to come in. And that's what they are doing. And again, the example of that was in the Chelsea game. Kusanov, a player, 20 years of age, just signed from Lens, centre half, Premier League debut, makes a mistake, costs Manchester City a goal. But they're intelligent. What they are doing is they are bringing these players in that might have been for the summer, the likes of Mamouche, the likes of Kusanov, to let them just play. Make errors now so that when we challenge next season, we won't have this problem. Young players are always going to make mistakes. But it's better for you to make mistakes now when there's nothing to virtually play for than do it when we're in a run-in for a title, which Manchester City will be in a race for the Premier League next season. That will happen. That's quite obvious. They can't be as bad as they were this year. And bringing the likes of Kusanov, Mamouche, Victoris is future planning. It's building a new squad for the next 10 years or whatever it's going to be for Manchester City. And the forefront of that will be Erling Haaland, a pure and utter example of Manchester City using their resources, using their ability and the ownership's kind of way of showing that they want to stay here and win, not only next season or the season after that, for seasons to come, for not only Pep, for when he leaves and somebody else comes in. Tying down Erling Haaland to almost a 10-year contract, marvellous for Manchester City. In already a very, very young squad. And I think people forget that Kusanov, Reece and Mamouche are young players, 20, 19 or 18 and 25 years of age. Then you've got the likes of Savinho, 21. Doku, a very, very similar age, 22 years of age. Phil Foden, experienced, but 24 years of age. Erling Haaland, 23, 24 years of age. Along with the experience of the likes of Ruben Diaz, Edison, Bernardo Silva, Kevin De Bruyne. It's very, very similar to what it was in the 17-18 season when they had David Silva, Aguero, Otamendi, Fernandinho, with the young players that were there at the time. Sane, Sterling, Jesus, Foden. It's marvellous. It's marvellous when you look at it. It's really, really marvellous. And the year after that, the 16-17 season, they didn't win the title. Pep bought the pieces for the jigsaw. And they absolutely dominated the Premier League the next season. 100 points, 100 goals. Never been done in the Premier League. They did it. City. And that is the style they are going with now. That's what they want to do. And they have had a very, very good start to 2025. And I think people forget that because they've just been absolutely done over by Paris Saint-Germain. And yes, they might be out of the Champions League and they might not win the Premier League title, but the foundations for that are being set now so they don't have a season like this for a very, very long time. This is intelligent and excellent from Manchester City's board and ownership, that they want to succeed, not only because they can, it's because they want to. They want to show ambition and they want to be victorious like they've had the last 10 to 12 years. And this has worked for them. It might not work for somebody else, but it's worked for them. So do it again and again and again. And they can fund that. And they've got a coach who knows how to do it because he's done it at Barcelona. He's done it at Bayern Munich and he's doing it at Manchester City. And he's just signed a new contract as well. I thought, and everybody thought, a lot of people thought that Guardiola would be done after this year. He said no. 2-year extension signed. Haaland is here for another 10 years, along with all the youngsters that they have, with the experience of Ruben Diaz, Kevin De Bruyne, Rodri to come back as well. And I'm sure they're going to sign more players in that position. They have to, and they will, because they do it. And that's why they win. And I'm not saying I want my club to spend like that, because even that to me is a bit frantic. It's not working. Here's another 50 million. That for me, I don't like. But it works for them. And as a football fan, I can understand it and look at it and appreciate it. Because ultimately, the currency of success in football is what? Silverware. You will not be taken serious if you don't win. And that is what Manchester City are known for, winning. They're a winning machine. And they will be back. And the signs of the old Manchester City were evident in that game against Chelsea. Clear signs. The goal from Gvardiol, who was also very, very young. I forgot to mention him. Edison pings the ball 30 yards, 40 yards down the pitch. Haaland comes onto it, holds off Chalobah. Don't know what Robert Sanchez is doing out of his goal from there, but puts the ball into the back of the net. The third goal, Haaland, hold play, strong, plays it off, lays it off to Phil Foden. Foden scores. This is Manchester City. This is two of the players that will be at the forefront of their project for the next decade, Foden and Haaland. And Foden has been magnificent, and Haaland is showcasing his abilities once again. Along with the expenditure, along with the players they are bringing in, along with the coach they have experience. They have experience. This squad has won Premier League titles year in, year out, Champions Leagues. They know how to do it, and they will do it. They will be back again. And you might be looking at me thinking, what is this guy talking about? But it's in front of your eyes. It's happening again, what Pep Guardiola is doing, that he did 7 or 8 years ago when he joined the Premier League. He is doing the same thing again. He's building a new team to go and win again. The age profiles match it beautifully. They're signing young and upcoming talents that are going to be marvellous for City. And as a rival fan, am I concerned about it? Of course, because they are getting better and they will be better. Not only now, but for the next 10 years. They signed one of the hottest players in Europe. They plucked him out of Frankfurt saying, I want you now. You're coming to Manchester City. Because where they are in the league is not acceptable for them. So they brought in one of the hottest attackers in Europe. Kusanov, they need defenders. Not only now, but for the next decade or so. They bring in Kusanov, Victor Reis. And I'm sure they're going to bring a number 6 in. This is why Manchester City will win and win and win and win and win. Because they don't sit on their laurels. They have a bad season, they go and spend the money, and they don't have that problem again. As a rival fan, am I worried? Yes, I am. And I've seen the battles that Liverpool have had with Manchester City over the last couple of years. 1 point. Competitive leagues. In a title race, Manchester City beat anybody. They either win the race or they get absolutely battered in the Premier League title to get to the title. And that's what's happening to them this season. But in a race, when the two teams are going for the title, or 3 last year, City come out on top. It's what they do. They know how to do it. And they will do it again. And some of the players they've got rid of, Cole Palmer, Lavia, would have fitted this perfectly. And we see how good Cole Palmer's doing. Can play in those positions in attack, left to right, maybe up front as well, as an attacking midfield player. But what they have is a breath of fresh air of young players, along with the experience of title winners. That blend is a recipe for success that Pep Guardiola is implementing now, so he doesn't have this problem. And it will happen. It will happen. And as a football fan, I can appreciate it because he has done a lot of good for this league. Whether that's by cheating or not, I'm not going to accuse City of that. But him Haaland signing on for 10 years, the players coming to City, all points to the direction of them being successful in the next 10 years. And as a rival fan, do I want it to happen? No. But as a football fan, it's nice to see that the competitiveness of the Premier League is coming back. You look at the league in general now. Villa, Brighton, Newcastle, Spurs, United, all competing for 2 positions, Chelsea. And you might argue 5 years ago that wasn't happening. The top teams have got worse, which can also be true. But I think that the teams below them have also improved, which is why the gap is a lot tighter, which is why the race for the title will be better, because those teams can take points of City, Liverpool and Arsenal, whoever's in the race. It won't be like 97, 98, which makes the league more fun, more good to watch. Because when you had those teams 6 years ago, Liverpool and City would roll over every team. And I used to enjoy that because I'm a Liverpool fan. But this league is very, very competitive. And it points to that being retained and Manchester City running away with it again if teams don't act fast, because they are doing it under everybody's noses. They will be back. And do I want it to happen? No, but that is the reality. But guys, make sure to like, make sure to subscribe. It's Monday morning. What a better way to start your morning, eh? Joking. But make sure to like, make sure to subscribe, hit the bell notification so you never miss a video, and I will see you on the next one.